Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. Deborah Kobylt live. And I have in studio with me someone who's becoming a friend of mine. She's been at my home. We've enjoyed lunch and gotten to know each other. Valentina Castellani-Quinn. Thank you so much for being here.
Deborah, it's such a pleasure being with you, and we just shared this beautiful connection that we have. We are both Italian. We have a way to feel, to interpret life, to look at the world that comes from the heart, and that connects us in a very special way. So I'm particularly happy to be interviewed by you.
It really does. And later on in the show, remind me, I want to talk a little bit about the journey that I'm about to go on, going to Italy, because you'll understand it very well. I just want to make sure I don't forget that.
I want to give you some good tips.
Oh, that's perfect. Italian tips from Valentina. So please just stay tuned all the way to the end, because I know it's going to be of great value to me. You just presented this weekend a beautiful film, and I need you to know I can't stop thinking about it, called Wonderful Losers, which is a candidate for the Academy Award this coming year. Very beautiful film. We'll be talking about that. Also, you are executive producer of the film White Snake, which you're still filming, and it's about the Native American culture. Is that correct?
Correct, yes. It's about the Native American. We've been starting shooting at Standing Rock, and then we became so close to actually the chief of all the Native American tribe, Chief Arvol Looking Horse. He's like the Pope, actually, of the Native Americans, and we developed a very special relationship that will be reflected in the film, in the sense that it became really the storyteller, the narrator of the story. And this story revolves around oil and alternative energies to oil.
Well, we'll get into that in a little bit, too, because I want to talk about that as well. And speaking of the Pope, you mentioned the Pope.
Yes.
You got to meet the Pope when you did the film.
I got to meet the Pope, Deborah.
One Rock, Three Religions. That's the name of the film.
One Rock, Three Religions is sold globally. And it was absolutely a fantastic journey to shoot this documentary. I always like to tell the story, especially for young filmmakers, because we all live with the idea we cannot do a film, we can't produce it, we can find the funding unless we have millions of dollars. This documentary started with a very, very, very humble budget. But it had a great concept, really, to do a film around starting from the Dome of the Rock, the Temple Mountain, and then expanding to what it means, peace in the Middle East, that by now we can say it's global peace. So when we started filming, again, we kind of had a plan, but we didn't really know where we could end up. And that was the time when the Pope announced that invited the two presidents at the time, Shimon Peres and Mahmoud Abbas, to pray together at the Vatican. And this was an unprecedented historical event.
I remember.
Like the coronation of Napoleon. And the first thing I thought was like, oh, we should be there and film with the Pope.
And where were you at the time when you thought that?
This was just in the beginning of the documentary. We just started filming, and we said we should expand the conversation to a global conversation about world peace. Fantastic. And I saw this on the news. Actually, in an Italian newspaper, it was just announced. And I said to the director, Isaac Hirst, we have to be there. And of course, they all smiled at me like, Valentina, come on, of course.
Yeah, but what Valentina wants, Valentina gets. So
definitely,
there's no doubt,
I
because
feel passionate about a project, I'm on top of it.
Look, I'm like that too. People will say, "How did you end up doing it?"
Right.
But you even end up getting an audience with the Pope.
Yes,
which was really impossible to do. Okay.
What I always say the truth. I Googled the Pope, actually, Deborah, because no matter who could I know in the Vatican, it wouldn't be as important enough to grant me the permit to actually shoot, film, and just be present at that particular prayer between these three global leaders. So I Googled the Pope, and I got a phone number that was just a press Vatican office, and I started my conversations with the nun and trying to explain what we were doing, and it occurred to me right away that no matter what name I could pull out, it was absolutely irrelevant. What mattered to these people was where this project was sprouting from and if I had my heart into it.
So you told me that they got to know you over a month. You would have to call them
we
every
had-
day.
For 10 days. I say, I had my 10-night confession, as I said, with the with the director of the press office.
Just please let me in, okay? I'll do whatever is necessary.
The questions were never about the production of the film, but they were actually more personal in terms of what kind of person I was, what was my intent, where is my heart set, what is important in my life, what do I want to do with this movie, what is the message I want to convey. And so after 10 nights, it was 2 days before the famous days of the prayer, and I was still in Los Angeles with my crew, and I'm like, Father Lombardi,
wow.
What do we do, And in the end, he said, okay, I grant you this permission, Valentina. And we had 2 days to clear all permits. It was very high security.
And you were in the U.S. at the time.
We were in the U.S. We jumped on the plane, and the next thing I know, we were in this absolutely beautiful Vatican garden, watching the Pope with these two presidents praying, and we all had tears in our eyes because it was very profound. It was very quiet, very, very emotional. Peaceful time, and it taught me a lot about resiliency and about believing into a project and just observing the Pope and his majestic figure, but also his humility in front of these two different presidents in trying to approach them and get them together in prayer. Very, very beautiful.
Regardless of one's religion, there's so much we could learn from someone like that.
Yes.
He's a public figure.
Yes.
He meets with the public, the poorest of the poor, and leaders all around the world.
Yes.
And again, religion aside, politics aside, the gratitude and just the humbleness, we could all learn something from that. So that must have been quite an experience as you sat there and then probably thought, I can't believe I pulled this off. How did this happen? Because a week ago, I wasn't going to be here.
Yes, and we realized, most important, we realized that we weren't just a small team of filmmakers believing into an ideal world of peace. But if the Pope was believing into our project, then we understood we were a tribe around the world that could believe into this, into peace. And of course, after the Pope, we filmed with the Dalai Lama, with so many figures and ambassadors and humanitarian leaders. It was absolutely a life journey.
Now, this film, One Rock, Three Religions, it is about peace
in the Middle East.
Yes. And that's a huge project to take on.
Yes.
And you managed. Did you almost feel the hand of your husband behind you? And can we talk about who he is?
Yes, of course. Francesco, Francesco
Quinn.
Was the son of Anthony Quinn and an amazing award-winning actor. And unfortunately, he died 7 years ago of a heart attack.
Young.
Very young, very young.
How old was he when this happened?
He was 47, yes. He died in front of our kids. So I was left. Of course, it was probably the most difficult time of my life and very unexpected. Francesco was extremely healthy and young and happy. We were very in love. We were a happy family. And but he was an athlete and he was overdoing it. He had a magnificent passion for cycling, and it didn't pay very well in the end. And
but there's so much to go through. It's a shock when that happens. It wasn't expected. Your kids were there, and then once you go through this, the initial stages of mourning, suddenly you wake up one day, and this is your new normal for the rest of your life.
Yes,
That's
it
very
was quite
difficult.
a harsh awakening. And as usual, I'm an artist, Deborah. I know you can connect with that.
Yeah.
My art, my creativity is what always saved me in my life in tough times. And the first thing I thought, I have to do something, even for these kids, to keep believing. Because whatever it's left, it can be lost just into this terrible day. It has to sprout into something creative and beautiful. And so from that came the TV series Life on a Bike, which was an amazing new concept, a TV series that followed the Giro d'Italia. And so we embarked into this amazing adventure. That was my first job as a producer in creating a TV series, and it was a reality TV series that was following a few cyclists from the training before this amazing, iconic race that goes all across Italy and up to the end. And so we did it. It was the most difficult thing I ever done, for sure. But I learned a lot. And most important, I realized at the last stage of the race, where we were on top of one of the highest mountain, Monte Stelvio in Italy. And when you get to the top, no matter that it's almost summer, it was freezing cold and snowing. And it felt like being on top of the world. And the first concept, the first thing that came into my mind was like, we are healed now. We made it. So it was really, really beautiful what this work of creativity did for me and for my daughter that was there, and in general,
your husband,
to set up an example.
And your husband there in spirit.
Yes.
I really believe that. So did this lead you, of course, to your involvement in Wonderful Losers? Do we have a clip of Wonderful Losers? Can we show it?
Yes. Amazing film by director Aruna Matelis. Is a Lithuanian director. And it is a film that comes from his passion to cycling, about the Giro d'Italia. But most important, it's about the gregario cyclists in the Giro d'Italia. The gregarios are those cyclists that are often forgotten and never mentioned, but they are the one that support the main champion to win.
They are wonderful losers because they will never win the race. They support the lead guy to get to the finish line, which is outstanding. I mean, it's such a selfless job.
And, I love the concept of this fantastic film because we're all a bit wonderful losers in the life, really. We all fight for causes that often we are not recognized for, but we know we are an important piece of the puzzle to get to the victory. So it's beautiful, the concept that is in the sport, but it's also in life. And I found it very valuable, the message that it was giving. So I embarked into this adventure and involved the Giro d'Italia to come in Hollywood, since the movie was a candidate for the Oscar as Best Foreign Film from Lithuania and documentary.
Let's take a look at the clip, shall we?
Absolutely.
Wow. Absolutely stunning.
Aruna really got the sense of what it means to be an athlete from within. Mm-hmm. And I really, really respect his work for that. And it was really a pleasure to support him through this campaign and create all of this.
You know, this passion for storytelling and filmmaking didn't just come because you were married to a very well-known person from a very well-known family, the son of Anthony Quinn. This came because of your background also in Italy.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about Dad.
My grandfather, Riccardo Castellani, was a wonderful human being, still kind of my role model, really. And he was a great producer and distributor. He was the president of Anicagis, which was the international production and distribution company in Italy. And also in my family, we owned opera theaters for almost 2 centuries. So I kind of grew up behind the stage and watching the most amazing artists performing, from classic music, composers, ballet, opera, theater, and I could not be more inspired, obviously, to somehow then follow the steps.
And your family also worked with Fellini, correct?
Yes. He did co-finance and collaborated with many of the famous directors of the golden Italian era of cinema.
Wow. What was he like? What were the stories about him that you could share?
It was a very majestic figure, my grandfather, and had a lot of nephews and nieces, and somehow I was his favorite. Unlike now, I was very, very quiet as a kid. I was living in my fantasy world, and sometimes not being understood. The other one, my sisters, my cousins, were very loud and always together, and I was a little bit always behind and quiet. And
because you were observing everything,
yes,
and everyone's behavior.
Yes, and he was very capable of understanding me. So we had a very special relationship that inspired my entire life.
It's not easy when you're in a family of Italians. I know this. When everyone is passionate. I wouldn't like to say loud, but passionate.
Yes.
To get your voice heard, I have to tell you.
Yes. And I wasn't the best one in school also, so I wasn't the one
That's the life of an artist.
Honors, exactly.
That's the life of an artist.
Yes.
I don't think I know many artists, whether they're writers or painting artists or producers, directors, who are just stellar students. That biology test, I nailed it. I think it's a different it's a different side of the brain.
It comes at a different stage in life, and at first it really sees you more as a observer. To become a storyteller, you have to be a beautiful observer of life.
So I told you that I'm about to go to Italy. And again, I've been there numerous times as a tourist and traveling around and enjoying and loving Italy. But I have never met the relatives, and I've never been to the little towns where my family is from, which is San Barbato, Avellino, and Manocosati. Am I saying that right?
Uh-huh. Yes.
In the Campania area. And I recently reached out through a cousin who said, Deborah, try reaching out to this person. And I found so many of them. And they're so kind and so accepting that they're looking forward to welcoming my family. And I thought,
Deborah, this will be your lifetime trip. I think is one of the most important thing a person can do, to go back to his roots in the country where his family kind of got together, became what they are now.
Well, my parents, they spoke Italian, but they didn't teach it to us because they wanted us to be Americanized.
Right.
And I didn't know enough about my background. I knew a little bit, but not enough. And since they passed away these past few years, we were so close. And I still feel them everywhere. And I thought, all right, you guys, that's it. We're going to Italy. So I feel like, they're pushing me to do this. I sincerely feel them with me to do this project.
How wonderful.
Grief, as you know, is very interesting. It has phases.
Right.
And now I am very pleased to say that I got to the side where I can truly smile and laugh when I think about them. And I'm like, come on, you guys. I do think it's different to lose a parent than your soulmate and your partner.
Yes.
That is different.
Yes.
But I do feel them guiding me. So.
Yes, absolutely. And
any
you
advice?
Will see it even more. Any advice? Well, definitely go with your heart open. I hate when people goes with too many information. Museum this, museum that, then this is the place. I think that a place has to make you fall in love on the streets.
I have to tell you, we're not going there to sightsee. We've already done that. We're going there. We're going to be there on Christmas.
Right.
So Christmas at the Vatican.
Yes.
And then we're driving down to, we still don't even know how we're getting there. We're driving down to San Barbato.
Yes.
And the relatives just said, great, we'll be there.
Definitely drive through the coast, because the coast, the oceans, the sea, it's so beautiful. I mean, you will pass through villages and little roads that are just to die for.
But I'm not
Stop
sure.
in the little restaurants, not just the big ones, because the fishermen are always cooking the best food, especially in the town.
I got to tell you, the best restaurant I've ever been to yet, and I don't know the name, in Italy was right near the marble mines, okay? And we stopped at a gas station to fill up our tank, and we were starving. And behind the gas station was this tiny, tiny, tiny little mom and pop restaurant with them, throwing the pots around. And that, to this day, is my favorite restaurant. I don't know the name. It's a little place that probably nobody goes to.
But you know it, and it makes you feel at home, definitely.
Yep. So I'm looking forward to
And I would say the best suggestion I can give to anybody that goes to Italy is always have your heart open to fall in love again with whatever you want, but fall in love again.
And my Google Translate, because I speak, not many of them speak English, some of them, and I do not speak Italian. So thank God for Google Translate.
Yes, absolutely.
So what's next up for you? You are so busy. You live in Malibu, correct?
I live in Malibu, yes. We've been through the fire. My house is safe, fortunately, and but I didn't evacuate. I ended up staying and helping a lot of family that lost completely everything. We hosted for a couple of weeks 2 different people, friends that lost everything, and until we found a better solution for them and their family, we had a camp at home. But it was actually, in the tragedy, a very beautiful experience to be there and be able to serve, to help, because there was so much need. The city was deserted, only the firemen. But to tell you the truth, Deborah, the fire was never this vast like this year. It was really tragic, and there was so much need of help from.
And still, so people need to remember.
Still, I mean, the city is half closed. Many of the canyon are completely burned out. Many people don't have electricity still, so there is.
They're doing their best. They really. I mean, it was very difficult to fight. I think they didn't even expect it. I mean, the true sense of a wildfire. It jumped roads. It ended up at Point Doom for people who know where that is.
Yes.
But thank you for doing all that you did. And I know Malibu Cares is doing quite a bit.
Yes,
I've
done very little. I don't call myself a hero, but I was there, and sometimes in these tragic conditions, even to be able to bring a bottle of water, give a lift to somebody that is left with no car, it's a heroic action. So I love
community.
that I could be there and part of this amazing community that Malibu is.
I am so excited that you came on our show today. So I would like to implore everyone, please take a look at One Rock, 3 Religions. Where can they find that?
Well, right now it's just globally sold, so it will be shortly into all the networks and everything. But you can go on the website, www.onerock3religions.com, and you will be guided to watch the film.
And then the film White Snake that you're executive producer of, that you're continuing to work on.
Yes, we're still continuing filming, so we have quite a busy schedule ahead. And the rest, let's see. I always love to be inspired by new projects.
Yeah, and then, of course, Wonderful Losers, candidate this year for the Academy Award for foreign film.
Foreign film, yes.
It's so outstanding. When I tell you I'm still thinking about it,
yes,
I really mean that truly. So
Deborah,
thank you
so
for your
much.
involvement
in that. It means
in
the
that.
world for all of us involved into this film, and more so for the director that I know that for him to shoot from Lithuania to come in Italy and shoot with this race, it was a dream come true and a tremendous effort. So I want to enhance his incredible talent.
Yeah. And Merry Christmas. And when I get back, I really look forward to having lunch with you. I'm going to come with pictures and all sorts of things.
Yes, absolutely. So. Buon Natale, Deborah. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for being here with us today. Deborah Kobylt Live. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube, and also the iHeart Media app and Apple Podcasts. A lot of people are downloading us now, just listening in their cars, which is really cool. So thank you for being here, and we will see you next time. Merry Christmas.
Ciao, ciao.